Hello and welcome to the Revived Yarns excuse me, knitting podcast, episode 18. So it has been a month, which I thought it had been longer. Let me adjust my camera really quick because my head's getting cut off. If you see a little head pop up back here, the puppy is sleeping in the windowsill, so he may pop his head up. The other one's been very interested in my wool, so he may also make an appearance if he decides to try and steal some from me. All right, I have a few finished objects. I feel like my knitting mojo is kind of back. Well, it must be because I have finished some things. All right, so my most recent finished object is this extremely amazing cardigan. It is so lightweight. So I found plates of a unspun yarn at the Rag Finery here. They do textile reusing, and so they have fabric and yarn and tools and all sorts of stuff. They're an amazing resource. So I found plates of this. It was in an Alaskan, I want to say, or Canadian. Now I'm trying to look, but I don't know if I'll find it. Anyway, there were 6 strands of the unspun fiber. Let me see if I can find one of my ends, because I don't think I wove them in all that great. In fact, I forgot to weave in the ones inside the sleeve. So this unspun, I held it with a strand. I held each of them with a strand of, or 2 strands of reclaimed, I want to say merino, from a thrift store sweater, just to kind of give it a little more strength, and to kind of the continuity through it. So I kind of made this up as I went along. At first I thought I was going to do a vest, or a slip over as they're calling them these days. So I just kind of cast on for the shoulders. It's a drop sleeve, and then started knitting, and then I realized I was going to have enough yarn. So it was Dominion Textiles Sea Wash Carded Wool. It is discontinued, and it was, I'm pretty sure that's the right one. I kind of just looked up. Only one of them was in their packaging, and it was 6 of these strands held together throughout the plate. So what I did was I separated them all. So I had a plate of this dark gray. So I got basically 6 balls of this from that. And then I had a plate that was this light gray and this white. So 4 strands of light gray and 2 of white to make like a marled looking one. So I separated those out. So in order to make the best use of it, I went from the dark gray, or the light gray, to the white, and I kind of just did little triangle shaped color work here to kind of blend it. I should have done stripes instead, because I don't love the fact that it's got the floats inside, but I think it'll all felt together because it's so easy to felt. And then I did dark gray, and I didn't do any ribbing. I just did bound off, and they actually blocked wonderfully. There's no rolling now that it's blocked, and it blocked out, so the sleeves are long enough, because I was kind of playing yarn chicken. I have the tiniest amount of each left. And then I picked up and I knit the same for this collar. I did the light gray, the white, dark gray, and just let it roll. And I was wearing it this morning, and I was so cozy. And it's seriously the lightest thing. I should have weighed it, but I'm so light, so fluffy, and it used up all that yarn that I've had in my stash. I think I found it 2 or 3 years ago, so it's been in there for a long time. I just couldn't figure out what to do with it, and I'm so glad I had enough for a cardigan. I'm not sure if I'm gonna buy more of the unspun wool or not, because I enjoyed working with it. Sorry, I hit the tripod. I enjoyed working with it, but I don't know, as a spinner, it felt weird to work with unspun wool. But I'm very glad that's out of my stash, and I have a cardigan that's going to be amazing this year. And one of my goals is to get more cardigans made. All right, and then my second finished object is this cotton tee, which I think I forgot to show as a work in progress last time. So I ordered from Color Mart in the UK a couple cones of a cone of linen, 2 cones of linen, and a cone of cotton in 2 separate orders because I kind of wanted to try it first. So this cotton is a cotton and nylon blend, and I like it. It's hard to say because I have tried it on a couple of times, but it's now too chilly to actually want to wear it because it's very breathable. So I guess I'll have to wait till summer to know if I actually wear it. So I did just I-cord on all the edges. And I actually took some video that I'll probably insert here of me with the rest of the cone because I got a kilogram cone because it was half off if you got that much. And I was like, sure, not thinking about the fact that I don't actually knit with cotton that much. So I wound off several skeins of it to dye. I've got some tie-dye, so I'm just putting it in a blue tie-dye. So I should get a nice little green of some sort. So I took video of that I will put in here. Hello, I am winding off from this cone of cotton. I finished a t-shirt in it, and I got so much, I'm not even sure why. It was from Color Mart, and so it was a good deal. That's probably why. It's DK weight cotton and nylon, so it was half price because I got the kilogram cone. So now I am going to wind it off so that I can dye it. I'm just going to use tie-dye, like they do with t-shirts. They're ready to go because I don't want to invest in more than that because I'm not usually dyeing cotton. This is how I wind yarn off, or from either yarn I've spun or from a cone like this. I just put it on the Swift and spin it around. I know they make skein winders, but I don't need another piece of equipment in my house. So I'm not really measuring. I'm just going with it. I've wound off 2 already that are about 3 ounces, I believe. And I think I will wind off, I'm not sure, about half this cone and dye that a color. Then I can knit another t-shirt or sweater or tank top, something with it. And then I'll leave the rest natural for now because there's so much of it. And yeah, I don't know. I might try just doing dishcloths with the rest of it, though I don't love nylon in my dishcloths. I usually just do 100% cotton. I guess I could weave with it as well if I wanted to. But I'm not sure if they would make great towels either. Might make a nice soft baby blanket. It's very soft. The shirt that I did that's washed is very soft, very drapey though. I wonder if that's enough. It does hurt my arm after a while, that's for sure. And I'm just holding my hand above the cone to keep it so it doesn't get caught. This also works if you just flip it from the side and let it go around. It takes a little bit longer though. I'm gonna do a little bit more. Oops, it's getting caught. And every once in a while I kind of push it down. Ooh, this is tighter than the other ones. I'll do a bit more. This skein will be bigger than the rest. Okay. And then I always tie the start at where the numbers are. Mine Swift has little number marks for where you put the pegs. And I always start it there, so then I try and end it so it's across from that, and I can tie off. I do loops through, and I tie a double knot. And then scooch it along, make it tight, and I pull. I made this skein way too tight. Apparently talking while I do it is not ideal. I pull this off, there we go, and then I do it here. So I've got two ties that are kind of across from each other. And for this yarn, I think that's good because I'm just putting it in Ziploc bags with the dye and squishing it around. But if you were worried about tangling, you could put a third tie there. And I'll take it off and I will see how much this one ended up being and how much I have total. I'm sure it will be enough for a sweater. I feel like I barely used any of the cone for the t-shirt. Maybe I'll hold it with something. Oh yeah, that's 5 ounces. So I've got a total of 11.5 ounces wound off. So next up, I'm going to soak it for a while in just plain water before I do the tie-dye. Hopefully get nice, even color. My dog is looking at me like I'm crazy because I keep talking to nobody. And you see the other one's head. Right there. He loves to sleep in the window. So he's watching me because I'm talking. They're not used to me talking to nobody. Alright, and since I've cleaned off the table, which is a process in itself, and gotten my Swift and stuff out, I'm going to wind off these. This is a merino silk. The silk is the green. Get off the table, dog. Both of you, oh my gosh, they're way too interested in what I'm doing. I finished it at Spinning Group, plying it, and I'm going to wind those off into skeins. So these bobbins, I can do a single skein from them, but it's usually a little bit hard to deal with. So this is probably a worsted weight yarn. I'm not sure how much they hold, actually. An ounce, maybe? Does that sound right? I don't know if I've ever measured. I don't have an empty one. Oh, it's 7.5 ounces for that other bobbin. So, wow, 5 ounces? I didn't actually weigh my bats before I started spinning them. I'm a terrible record keeper, apparently. Now dogs are fighting over there, or playing. I might wind them all off on one. It will be a fluffy, big skein, but I kind of like that anyway, because if I end up using it for all, that's a terrible sound. It's okay. All done. Hey, it's okay. If I use it for all one project, that's fewer wet ends to weave in. I have no idea what I'm going to do with it yet. I don't think there's maybe enough for yeah, I don't know. I really should have thought through this process, but I had borrowed a drum carder and just decided to make a bunch of mats. So I had black merino and all this recycled sari silk, and it's okay. Alright, I'm going to finish doing these while the dog barks at the noise. Okay, and my next finished object is this cowl that I made. I just kind of made up the pattern. It's brioche. This gray is a reclaimed cashmere, and it is seriously the softest ever. I've used it in a couple projects now, and I love it. I still have a couple balls of it left. I should have made it longer, but I was kind of sick of it. It's been in my car as my on-the-go project. I also have a ton of this rainbow yarn, but this sock yarn I also got at the Rag Finery that I did the brioche with. So I can do it either one. If I feel more colorful, I can do it this side. If I want more muted, I can do it this side. And I just did garter at the edges. And it's the perfect amount of warmth for like walking. I've used it a couple times already, just walking my daughter to the bus stop in the mornings, and it's the perfect amount to just insulate for a quick walk. So that is off my needles and blocked even. And then I did my first muscle work. It is some sock yarn that I think I found at a thrift store. Yeah, I did. It was, I don't remember the name of it. It's one of the more high-end ones that you can get. And I understand the hype for this pattern now. It was so much fun to just knit stockinette for ages, because I don't really do socks. So I used some of this skein for some worsted weight socks, because I held this yarn and another sock yarn together. And then I just used the rest of it with this. And it was great. It's going to be perfect. We always like to keep extra hats in our car, so that if we decide to go to the beach or we're at a park or something and it's colder than we expected, we just have spare ones. So I've cast on 2 more of these. So I totally get the hype now, because they're just so fun and so easy. And the fact that you could just start knitting the increases and then you measure your gauge so you know how many increases you need to do and how long you do. It's just so easy. Spinning project. So I also took video of me winding these off, my bobbins. I started this project just before, at the end of last month, I was going to take my spinning wheel to the Pacific Northwest Fiber Exposition, because I was going for a couple of days to Port Angeles for that event. I took a couple of classes. And so I started this so I could take my wheel with me and have a project. Except then I realized that I was taking 2 classes. There was going to be the marketplace. I was going to be hanging out with some friends. And I didn't feel like packing my wheel. So I left it. And then I finished it when I got back and plied it up on Saturday during my spinning group. So this is probably worsted or Aran weight. I haven't finished it yet. So it needs to soak and hang. So yeah, Aran weight maybe. But it's black merino with recycled sari silk. And I like it. It's really soft. I have no idea what I'll do with it. I might get my loom out, actually, for that one and do a scarf or something. So those are my finished objects. I'll include these in finished too. So I took a class at the Pacific Northwest Fiber Exposition in Port Angeles. And it was a hand dyeing, hand painted yarns class. So she gave us 3 skeins and the mixed up dyes. And I started out with this one. So I did a yellow with some orange and black, kind of like a fallish look. I think it ended up brighter than I expected, because when it's wet, it always looks darker. And then I decided to do just one that was pretty much all one color and see how that worked. So I kind of squished it around, and I did add a little bit of black to that one, which I don't think is coming up. Oh, there's some. So it's some darker greens with the lighter green. And then I decided to do one with this bright blue and black. So it has, undo this so you can see. So I just kind of laid it on the table like this, did the blues at the end and the blacks in the middle. So it should have an interesting striping sequence, depending on the project I use it for. I will probably, I think the full amount with all 3 skeins is 100 and some 30 grams. I just weighed it and I can't remember. She said it was a mystery wool, definitely 100% wool, non-superwash. It took the dye really well. The class itself was not as informative as I expected it to be. I was a little disappointed just because it was advertised as a speckling and hand painting, and she wasn't really, yeah, it was weird. Anyway, the whole event was great, but that class was, I feel like it wasn't really worth it, because I've done tons of dyeing already with just food coloring in my kitchen and done stuff like this. So yeah, but I got 3 skeins of yarn. I should have done them so that I could use them together, because I don't know, there's no way I can use these in the same project. Maybe these 2, and maybe I can find a black or something, or blue, and stripe this. I mean, I could just make more Musselburghs, right? So I also took a Viking knitting class. And I made 2 bracelets during the class, and then I did a kind of playing around with beads one, and my daughter has stolen all of the stuff I've made. Then when I got home, I bought some more wire and beads, and I tried out this one. So Viking knitting is like, you have a dowel. I don't know if that's going to show up. You have a dowel, and you weave it around the dowel through the loops in a certain way, and then it looks pretty messy and loose, and then you pull it through holes in a piece of wood, and it stretches it out and smooths it, and it makes it into jewelry. So this one I actually put a string of beads on the inside of it to see how that would look. So this is like, my daughter wanted me to put elastic, so it's like a little headband thing. So she is like a little crow magpie, steals everything that's shiny. But I've also started making some in colorful wire for Christmas decorations. So when those are done and ready, they'll be on our Christmas tree. Okay, so those are the things that I've finished. My whips are my hand-spun cardigan, which I really do not know if I'm going to have enough yarn for this. Like, seriously, I thought I was going to have some no problem, and it seems to just be eating through it. So I don't know what I'll do if I run out, because it's hand spun from mill ends, plus some fiber that I got at an event. So I can't reproduce this yarn. So I'm using the dark at the collar. This is how far I've gotten. I think I had just split for the sleeves the last time I talked to you guys. Yeah, I think I put a marker in right here. So I've done this much, but I've also finished a t-shirt and made a whole nother cardigan in that time. I also have these little stitch markers that I will talk about in acquisitions that work great for these giant needles. So they're plenty big. And those needles are very loud when they clang. So this I keep, instead of in a bag, I keep it in a plastic tote with a lid. Okay, and then I've got my Muscle Herbs. So this one I started after I finished the other, and it is, I had 2 balls of this, oh, what is that sock yarn that you can get like Michael's and Joann's and all those places? I can't remember what it's called now. I made terrible notes for this podcast because I just wanted to get it recorded it and done, because everything has been in my way. So they were less than 50 grams each, I'm pretty sure, because I got them with a bag of sock yarn at the thrift store or Rag Finery. But there is plenty for this. I'm down here, and I still have this much left. So there will be plenty to finish the length that I need, and the decreases. Also, stitch stoppers. So this is like a huge thing now. Everyone is buying stitch stoppers. And I also have some in acquisitions that I will tell you about. So I like to put a stitch stopper on that because they're very small needles and they've poked through this bag before. And I don't like that. And then my daughter wanted to go to the high school play this last weekend, 2 weekends ago. And I wasn't sure. I should have just worked on the pink one, but I wasn't positive I had enough straight knitting left on that one. So I cast on a new one. So this is some more sock yarn I got at the Rag Finery. And I cast on this very fall-like thing. So I did all the increases before the play, and then I knit pretty much this whole thing during that play. It was James and the Giant Peach. The high school put it on. It was pretty good. My daughter absolutely loved it. She's never been to a live show like that before, where it's longer. She's only seen like little skits. She was in love. So I'm thinking we'll probably be going to those from now on, because yeah, she really enjoyed it. And then she started watching the Disney version of James and the Giant Peach, which I don't remember ever actually watching that. Maybe slightly remember it. Anyway, she turned it off halfway through and she goes, the high schoolers did a way better job. So, and then I am knitting a linen rocket tee by Tanis of Tanis Fiber Arts. It looks, I mean, it's so see-through. This is ridiculous. And hopefully my gauge should not lie, but I have a gauge swatch that I washed, and it's not as see-through as this. I'll, of course, wear it over a tank top, but I'm doing the I-cord bind off, and this linen is not very pleasant to work with. Oh yeah, here's my swatch balled up in the bag. So the swatch is not, I mean, it's still a little bit see-through, but it really softened up, and it's not nearly as open. So hopefully the rest of the sweater does, or the tank does this. T-shirt, whatever it is. I'm debating, I think I might actually knit sleeves on it. A couple inches at least. And I then need to do the I-cord around the neck as well, because the neck opening is pretty big right now. But that's been a pretty long-term whip. This was the first order I got from Colormark quite a while ago. And it's really nice, but I don't love working with linen and cotton. It's hard on my hands. It seems to go really slow. And then I started another spinning whip. I'm still working on that cotton. There's a little puppy. The boucle. I did finish a few and took them off. But I still have, I don't know, I haven't weighed it, several ounces of this cotton left to spin. But it is also one that I don't love working with. So I got 2 braids from the Edgewood Garden Studios. They're hand-painted roving. And she had some mystery wools that she listed. And I got 2 matching ones of this inquisitive color. And I really enjoy ordering from her. She's really close, so it's local. And she has some really nice products. So what I did was I took braids and I split them, and I split them again, and I split them again, and I split them again. So I have tiny little strips of each, so short color repeats all the way through. I didn't want any long ones. This is my bobbin I'm working on. I took it off the wheel so I didn't have to hold up my whole wheel to show you guys. I'm so smart. And so short color repeats, and I am planning on plying it with something that I bought at the Pacific Northwest Fiber Exposition. When I started it, I probably wasn't planning that. But then when I was taking out my purchases to show you guys, I was like, that would be perfect. Which is buried at the bottom, so I'll show you in a minute. So those are all my whips right now. My acquisitions. So my last spinning group, not this month's, but the month before, we had a local farmer, Marietta Shetlands, who came with a bunch of his Shetland roving, and I got 2 bumps of this. Sister Jean is the name of the sheep, and I'm running out of space, and 2 bumps of this from Annie. So it's 8 ounces each, and I don't have plans at the moment. I just wanted to get it because I think they've been thinking about stopping raising the sheep, and so they're trying to get rid of some stock, and I need to find a plastic bag to put these in because they're getting kind of messed up in my current situation. So I wanted to get those so that I have them. Okay, that unburied. So these are my Pacific Northwest Fiber Exposition purchases. I was restrained, especially because there was someone there who had the most beautiful fleeces. Like, oh my gosh, they were gorgeous. So I got from Phoenix Fiber Arts Pacific Northwest Fiber Bumps. This is a Pacific Northwest blend of wool and merino wool. And this is what I'm going to spin and hold with that other stuff. So I have 8 ounces of the colorful wool. There's 8 ounces in this. And there was another bump very similar. So this is 6.75. So I will probably have some left over because I'm going to do a 3-ply because that fiber is just wanting to spin so fine. So I think I will do a ply of this and a ply of this with those. Or I will fold these together and do that combination, 2 of those plied with that. I have done that before with, I had 2 bumps that were similar and I plied them together to do with a ply of something else. And that worked okay, but it wasn't my favorite, so I might just do these separate. They're close enough in color that I think the little variation will be fine because the other one's so colorful that it'll be okay. I really need to dig out some big Ziplocs for these. Okay, and then I got some more Shetland from a, I don't know where the end is of this. I just got the end of the bag of roving. So this is it. I think I got 8 ounces. And for some reason, I did not get a paper saying exactly what it is or where it was from because I was just in a haze of wool lovelies. This would also be another possibility to hold with that colorful one, actually. Though I don't think I got enough of this because I think this is only 10 ounces. So that would not be enough to hold 2 strands. Yeah. But it's lovely. And then I also got, so the lady that had the beautiful fleeces, she also had, because one of my main things about getting a fleece is I just don't want to deal with washing it. Especially because I can't rinse it inside. I mean, you shouldn't really rinse it down your drain anyway because of the grease. But we have a septic tank, so we really shouldn't rinse the grease down the drain. So she did washed and flipped locks. So they are, there's still some of the tips are intact. And I'm thinking I may just end up spinning straight from these. Like I will pull one out, fluff it up, and spin straight from it. And I got 10 ounces, a whole big bag of it. And, oh, that dog's either snoring. Yeah, he's snoring back there. Thought he was growling at something. Now my other dog's worried that he's growling at something. So yeah, I should have started this spin, but I wanted to show you guys. So yeah, they're just so fluffy and lovely and soft, and they're washed already. So, I mean, there's a few spots that probably could have used a little bit more washing, but those will spin in and then wash right out. It'll be fine. So, those are my Pacific Northwest fiber acquisitions. Wow. And then I was at the dollar store the other day, and was looking for something that I could use as stitch shoppers because I don't want to order some. The local yarn store carries a few, but they just seem really expensive. And I know that people like that kind of stuff. So, but I just can't justify spending $10 to $15 on 2 stitch stoppers for one project. So I found these little packs of mini makeup sponges. So they come in 3, which, considering it's a dollar store, that still seems kind of expensive. But I got 3 packages. So my smaller projects, I just use one and stick both needles in so they don't stab through. For larger needles, I just use one on each needle. So, man, I think that wool is, made something, my throat all weird. So yeah, I got some of those. They work great. They don't slip off. They're soft. I just stab the needles in. And then, I've never seen these before. I don't wash them, but these hair charms that work great. They're closed jump rings with little stars. And then they also had these ones. They're just like a jewel. And then this one, I've already got 2 on that big project And then my daughter stole one because, like I said, she steals everything. So they're not super high quality, like stitch markers. Like the stitch markers that you can purchase, probably not as high quality as that. But for $1.25 for four charms, that is not too bad. So if you have a Dollar Tree near you and you need some stitch markers, these were their options. I do really like these because they're so much bigger, and I always have a hard time finding stitch markers for the bigger needles. But I don't use them a ton, but the last two cardigan projects that I've had have been bigger needles, and I was using just the hair elastics, the tiny ones, and those will sometimes get slid under the stitches and move around. So that was annoying. All right, that is it from me. Hopefully, I mean, a month is not bad, actually. Not much new otherwise. My spinning group was good. The trip was good. And then coming up, I think the next big event is our St. Distaff's Day spin-in that my group is hosting in Burlington, Washington. And we are doing lots of planning for that. So I have posters to order and signs for the event. Making sure that we have everything we need, because that's a lot of work to put on one of these events. So I don't know if we'll do it again next year, but hopefully it is successful. That's not till January though. So until then, I won't be going to any fiber events, and I probably won't be buying any more fiber because this is quite a bit here. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 pounds of fiber right now. Also, I need to put all of these in my Ravelry because I have been doing a terrible job. So when I wanted to start this spin and put it in my hand spun projects, I had never entered the fiber for it. I think for the last 2 or 3 spins that I did, so I really need to enter my fiber, especially because I was going through my bins of fiber and some of them have lost the little labels and I don't know what they are. Not that it really matters because I just kind of combine things as whatever because it's all hand wash anyway. All right, well, I hope you have a wonderful week, wonderful month. I've really been enjoying Vlogtober. I've been watching the Slip Slip Sis podcast, and it's this little wonderful life she's in England. I caught a few others, but I haven't watched every day. But for those two, I've watched every day of the Vlogtober. And then all the usual other podcasts. Watching tons of those while in it. So have a wonderful week / month / whenever I see you again. Bye.